Asparagus and meatloaf with dirty mashed potatoes. Dirty just means the skin got left on. I accidentally mixed everything up before I started. I had ground beef. I added garlic from the fridge, sage, some black pepper, some Himalayan salt, steak sauce, and then I just got my hands in it, chopped onion, got my hands in it and mixed it up well. You don't have to use your hands. You can take and use a spatula or a spoon if you prefer. But you mix all this up well. Then I added half a can of diced tomatoes, about a quarter of a cup of Hunt's tomato sauce. Mixed that in, and then I just mixed. Speeded it up so you wouldn't have to sit and watch me mix all this. I have a pan that I'm going to use. Had a little bit of food in there because I had already put the meatloaf in it and took it back out. But I sprayed my pan with Pam first, which now you see, spray before you do it, and then you put the meatloaf in the pan. After you put the meatloaf in the pan, then you're going to make sure it's spread even in the pan. Then I'm going to take take about another quarter cup of tomato sauce, put it on top, and then spread it out all over the meatloaf. You can use ketchup if you don't have tomato sauce in place of the tomato sauce, but I'll spread it out evenly. And then I'm going to take it. I'm using my Gourmia stove. My little mini stove you can use in a regular oven, 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. I had already preheated this, so you'll see the timer had already counted down some, but I just reset the timer. First I put it on convection oven because it seems to bake a little bit better on convection oven. 350 degrees, it had already counted down from 30 minutes to 7. So then I just added it back up to 30 minutes. So I'm going to bake that for 30 minutes. After it bakes for 30 minutes, you're going to pull it out and pour off the excess liquid and fat. I just poured it in the pan to throw it away. After you drain it, then I'm going to take and stick it back in the oven. Like I said, you can use a large oven, just use 350 degrees, 30 minutes, pour off the liquid, put it back in the oven for about another 10 minutes. I set it for 10, but then I changed my mind and set it for 7 minutes instead of 10. Could have left it on 10, would have been fine. I just didn't want it to dry out. So keep an eye on it if you're going to add more time to the baking. After the additional 7 minutes, this is the finished product. It was delicious. If it has a lot of liquid on it, you can pour some out. Now I took fresh garlic from the fridge, chopped up some dried tomatoes, and sauteing that in a pan to cook the asparagus. So I'm just sauteing the stuff. Then I took some roasted garlic olive oil and put it in the pan to roast that with. I did that first. Now I'm going to add the asparagus and saute it. I'm going to saute it for just a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, not very long. But I'm going to put it in, and after I put it in the pan, then a few minutes later I drizzle it with a little more olive oil. It's on medium heat. I'm going to stir it around gently. I do like to take a piece out, and after it cooks for a few minutes, just to see. I like it to be al dente, not too hard, not too soft, because if you cook it too long it'll be mush and nasty. But I do like to take the asparagus and reach in and get a piece and take a bite of it just to see. There we go. Just to see if it's to my liking. I added some pink Himalayan salt while I'm sauteing it, and then I also added some pepper to it also. after sauteing the asparagus for, like I said, 3 to 4 minutes. Then I took a lid with a little bit of water in it to steam it for a few minutes, not much water. I cover it with the lid. It's a small lid, so I just covered it and let it steam for a few minutes, and then I took it off the heat. And then I took my potatoes, cut them up, diced them up. With the peelings on, everybody knows, or if you don't know, you should know, that most of the vitamins, or pretty much all of the vitamins in the potatoes is in the skin. So when you cut it off, you're cutting your vitamins off. So I left the skin on this time. That's why they're called dirty mashed potatoes. So I diced them up, and I kind of sped up the process a little bit so that you didn't have to suffer through all of that. Once they were all diced up, I took them and put them in some water. It wasn't quite boiling yet, but that's okay. I put some water on the stove, added a little bit of salt to it. Boil the potatoes. After they cook, I added butter, and then I took my mixer and just hand mixed them up real quick. And if they're too thick, you can add milk if you would like. I just added more butter, salt, and pepper, and voila, they were done. Then after they are done, then I took them and put them on the plate, as you will see in a minute. Here I'm adding more butter, back to the butter, making them a little bit thinner. And the more you chop them, then the peelings, of course, cut up smaller. Okay, here is the end result of the asparagus with the meatloaf and dirty mashed potatoes. I like to put my meatloaf on top of my dirty mashed potatoes. My husband does not. But all in all, it was a delicious meal. Give it a shot, and if you haven't liked my video, hit the subscribe and like button for more videos to come. Again, thank you for visiting Life with Karen.